given our Zoom participants. We're going to continue our pretrial and putative father hearing. We've done introductions. Ms. Thomas, do you have a preference on which piece we'll tackle first?
Let's do the putative father component first, and then we can. Right. Ms. Washer, please swear in, please.
All right, Deputy Ames, Ms. Washer, come on up.
Please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
A brief review. We've got the notice that was issued last time. Notice was sent out to the Department for Service, but I don't have any indication as to whether or not that was successful.
Thank you. Ms. Washer, how are you familiar with the matter?
I'm the foster care worker.
Okay. And there, at the last hearing, I believe that there were 2 individuals who were named as potential biological fathers of this child. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you have any knowledge? Have you been able to contact either one of those individuals?
Yes, I've had very limited contact with them. I was able to send the notice of hearing to them through text. They both have stated that text is fine. They received them. I haven't heard anything. I provided the Zoom info as well to them. Haven't heard anything back from them. That's about it. I could give an update on the DNA.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask, so when you provided that notice of hearing to them through text, did you submit a proof of service to the court?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Can you please do that by the end of the day?
Yes, I can.
Thank you so much for that. And as relates to DNA, so yes, please provide us an update with the DNA.
So I was able to get Ernest Conway scheduled for DNA and the baby scheduled for DNA. That was pushing out till November 22nd. So we've been in contact, me and my supervisor, Veronica Bresnay, and they were able to say that we could send us tests and essentially do it ourselves, and it'd be way quicker that way. And so that was about a week and a half ago. We haven't received any of the kits yet. We requested 3 of them to do both putative fathers and the baby. My supervisor actually sent an email this morning to follow up, seeing if they've been mailed out yet.
Wonderful, thank you for that. And for the other putative father that you were unable to schedule, do you know if he's willing to take DNA tests?
Yes, he is willing. I've sent in the request to schedule a DNA test for him. It hasn't been scheduled yet and sent back to me.
Sure, and assuming you're probably not going to need those appointments, given there'll be a kit sent to the agency. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for your testimony. On that point, I have no further questions about regarding the putative father component.
Mr. McFarland?
No questions.
Ms. Heiss?
No questions, thank you.
All right, if you could, when you submit your proof of service, maybe even do some screenshots to help me understand in the clerk's office because I know when you testified, you said that they have responded actively to you. So just how you knew that was them and what they said would be great.
Correct. Thank you.
All right. What do you think as far as how you'd like to proceed on this, Ms. Thomas?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that Ms. Gale would like to enter a no contest plea. And I have discussed with Mr. McFarland and Ms. Heiss if they would be willing to accept the testimony provided at the preliminary hearing as the factual basis for that plea. I will let Mr. McFarland explain why it would be a no contest plea, but if that's the case, then we would just like to move forward in that manner.
All right, well, before we go there, it doesn't seem like we've concluded anything as far as the putative father goes. Did you want to adjourn that, or how do you want to?
I do think we need a continuation at least of that, so we can do that. And it may be necessary to hold it, like, I know that we'll have to have a dispositional hearing, but probably the next review if we're scheduling out that late for DNA.
Thank you. Any objections?
No questions.
No. All right, I'll grant that request then for the continuation of the putative father hearing, and we'll just set that with each hearing moving forward until we've got that resolved.
Thank you.
Mr. McFarland.
Yeah, I did have a lengthy office conference with my client advising of her rights to trial, etc. At this point in time, she has no recollection of the events mentioned in this. So she wishes to tender a no contest plea, Your Honor. I've gone over that with her, that the court would accept the allegations, the prior testimony of the worker as true, and then we'd move on to a case service plan, which is a roadmap of how to reunite and close the case. So I've gone over all that with her, and we would like to proceed with no contest today.
So just so I understand, most of the things that are just addressed in a petition span over time between September 1st and looks like September 4th. Is that the time frame you're talking about?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. Do we know why, or is she comfortable talking about why she may not have any recollection of those events?
One moment, Your Honor. She had an emergency C-section, Your Honor. She was under a lot of narcotics.
For 3 days?
I was still on, yes, ma'am. Mr. Honor, I was still on.
She was still on the pain medicine, so.
Ms. Thomas, Ms. Heiss?
But I wonder if she's willing to acknowledge that the issues that happened are something that she needs some support on to improve her parenting, or if because she didn't remember, she doesn't feel that these are weaknesses in her parenting. I guess I'd like to know that.
I can address that, Your Honor. In the office, I let her know what would typically be included as far as something of this nature, how there'd be a psychological evaluation. I should have to follow all the recommendations of that. Would there be parenting classes? There may be budgeting classes, where we'd have to provide proof, and we'd assist her with transportation, housing, any substance abuse, if that were issues. So she's aware of the plethora of services that will likely come out as a result of the family team meeting in preparation of the case service plan. So she is aware of that. Discuss that.
Ms. Thomas? What are your thoughts? I know we did address this just briefly in a sidebar before I took the bench, and so I apologize if this issue comes as a surprise, but I do have concerns about understanding. I mean, there are plenty of people who go through a situation like that. So, I mean, is there a more specific time frame or some specific numbers that you want to refer to as bits and pieces, Mr. McFarland? It's just hard for me to accept that for a period of 3 days, your client was unable to remember anything without any further explanation other than the C-section.
No, Your Honor, she was under narcotics, painkiller narcotics, and she came to me that she really does not have it's just a blurry memory of what occurred during that period. So she wouldn't really be able to enter a type of plea. And I did go over each and every one of the items in the petition with her, Your Honor.
So is she of the position that that's painkillers from the hospital, or was that painkillers from a different source?
From the hospital. Yes.
I wonder if she would acknowledge that housing was weak at the time, and that she didn't have equipment for the baby yet to go home in 25 and 26 paragraphs. 23. Those weren't necessarily on that day. They were true outside of that period of time when she was anesthetized. Or
I have discussed with her, Your Honor, about the necessity of having to provide all the essentials for a child, and that would be in the case service plan.
Okay, so the child was actually born August 31st. And there were, yeah, it's essentially from the 31st to the 3rd, and most of the allegations.
And that's what my client is saying, that she was heavily under the influence of pain medication, Your Honor, and doesn't remember the allegations regarding the failure to be able to properly care for the newborn child. The allegations in there, just doesn't have those recollections. So.
Ms. Thomas, what do you think?
Your Honor, I believe that it's possible if Ms. Gale is indicating she did not have recollection of the time from when she entered the hospital until after birthing. I believe that is acceptable. I think that Ms. Heist's position is also valid. There are things that existed before hospitalization, such as not having any supplies or being ready to prepare or being prepared to provide care for the child. It's tricky because the dates that were supposed to go, what was true at the time of the petition, and the dates that are included are based on the investigation dates, and they would fall under the time frame in which she's claiming there's no recollection. So to accept the court's willing to accept that, I think it's appropriate.
Okay. All right, well, that is technically speaking a reason for the court to accept a no contest plea. And Mr. McFarland, as long as you explain to your client that the things that have been identified in this petition will have to be addressed by your client, whether or not she remembers them being issues. If she's willing to do that moving forward, that's all we're really asking.
She is, Your Honor. Maybe you want to explore that she understands that I've had a conversation, but that was the conversation that we had. About an hour in duration in my office.
Deputy Ames, would you please swear in Ms. Margaret Gale?
You can remain seated, but please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
All right, Ms. Gale, do you understand that if you enter a no contest plea, you're essentially, without having to admit it, allowing me to consider that all the allegations in the complaint are true, and then there will be a case services plan put together in order to help address those issues that were raised in the petition?
yes, Your Honor.
All right, if I, Mr. McFarland, did you talk with her about reading the petition?
I did, we would waive that. We've had an opportunity to go over that.
All right, Ms. Gale, you're familiar with the allegations in the petition?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good, all right. If I accept your no contest plea, you're giving up your right to a trial by judge or jury, the right to have the petitioner prove the allegations in the petition by a preponderance of the evidence, the right to have witnesses against you appear and testify under oath at trial, the right to cross-examine witnesses, and the right to have the court subpoena any witnesses that you believe could give testimony in your favor. Do you understand you'll be giving up or waiving the rights I've just indicated to you if you enter a no contest plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
With regard to the consequences of your plea, or in other words, what will happen, the court will do the following. It will be continued investigation by the caseworker to see what the problems are in your family and how and whether they can be solved. The court could dismiss the case if there's no need for the court to be involved. If it appears that there's a problem that may be solved, the court can make the child a temporary ward of the court, placed with mother or with relatives or in a foster home, and order programs for you and your child, such as counseling, drug and alcohol treatment, assessments, and parenting classes. If it appears that you will not be able to provide a proper home for the child in the reasonably foreseeable future, the court can terminate your parental rights. In regard to the plea itself, the plea can also later be used as evidence in a proceeding to terminate your parental rights. Do you understand the consequences of your plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have any questions about any of the information I've given you so far?
No.
All right. Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or anything else that could get in the way of you understanding what you're doing right now?
No, Your Honor.
Is anyone making you enter a no contest plea?
No, Your Honor.
Has anyone promised you anything in order to get you to enter a no contest plea?
No, Your Honor.
Would you say your decision to enter a no contest plea is one of you've made of your own free will?
Yes, Your Honor.
As to the factual basis of the plea, they would like me to simply consider the facts and circumstances in the petition as well as what came through during the last hearing. Do you understand that, Ms. Gale?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland?
Yes, you are. That's why I had discussed it.
All right. Ms. Heist, are you amenable to that as well?
I am, thank you.
Very good. Well, as it relates to that, I do find that many of the allegations around what happens before and at the time of the child's birth do constitute a violation of the statute, namely the housing instability that Ms. Heist mentioned already. It's clear that Ms. Gale does have some resources that she's receiving or has access to and was not managing those in a way to support herself or the child or prepare for the child's birth. And there are also concerns about her ability to take care of the child at the hospital that were noted by hospital staff, even to the extent that I received a letter from staff at the hospital indicating the nurses were concerned that mother was not taking care of the baby as needed. I'll quote, frequently asking nursing staff to change diaper and feed the baby and not showing initiative of baby care. Also, mother reported she has no supply for baby and her living situation also did not seem stable given she was staying in a hotel with friends, end quote. There are also concerns in the petition regarding some substance use. So I do find that all of those things contribute to creating an unsafe environment for the child at the home, because we're not really at the home, it's in the care of Ms. Margaret Gale, since there isn't a home proper at the time of the petition, and that constitutes a violation of the statute, specifically sections 712A.2B1 and 2. All right, are the attorneys satisfied with the factual basis of the plea and the advice of rights?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes, just one more thing to add, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I've asked my client about the equal issue, no Native American heritage, and she believes none on the possible putative fathers.
Thank you. Yes, I do have that. We addressed that as well at the prelim. Okay. Ms. Gale, is there anyone else we should be investigating that you know of for purposes of finding the legal father of this child?
No, ma'am, no.
Just Mr. Conway and Mr. Washington?
That's it.
Okay. All right, the court finds the plea to be knowingly, understandably, and voluntarily made. Our next hearing is the initial disposition, Ms. Gale. So between now and when we come back, you'll be sitting down with one or more of the department representatives to put together a plan to tackle the things that I put on the record today that caused the court to have concern for your child and your care. Are you prepared to bring your best efforts to the table to tackle those things?
Yes, Your Honor.
We have
This plea will resolve the October 11th court date.
yes, does that give the department enough time though?
Hey, Your Honor, I don't believe that all parties are available that day.
As accurate.
So I was gonna suggest 11 o'clock on Tuesday, October 22nd. Does that work for everyone?
Yes, Your Honor.
I will let Ms. Berger know.
All
And
right.
what time was that, Your Honor?
That would be 11 a.m. on Tuesday, October 22nd.
Yeah, that's fine with my client too, Your Honor.
All right, very good. So that will be our next date to look at the putative father issues again, as well as the initial disposition from Ms. Margaret Gale. Are there any other issues for the record today, Mr. McFarland?
None here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good luck. We'll see you October 22nd and 11th.
Off the record, Your Honor, my client will have a change of address she'd like